Testing 1, 2, 3. How's everybody doing today? You good? Audio good? Doesn't sound like it, does it? Testing. Something sounds off. Give me 1 second. Testing. Is that better? Testing. Is that better? Okay, there we go. Now we're good. That's why I got to test it at the start of every stream. So apologize about that. Okay. No, we got the audio straight, and StreamYard appears to be good. Let's jump into it. So this is going to be a quick episode, maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. But just as we were talking about the upcoming Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7 and Z Fold 7, what do you know? A video leak comes out of the new Fold 7, and holy crap, is this thing badass. It's the first time, again, I've mentioned it a few times, first time it actually has me considering getting this device. It's the first time it's actually going to feel like a S24 Ultra. It just folds open into a tablet. So we will jump into the video leak of the Fold 7. And then also going to get into some very disturbing news that everybody needs to pay attention to. Everybody going to have to pay attention to. So we'll go ahead and get into it here in just a second. I want to make sure I just shared the feed out so everybody will be able to join in with us, and I will get those cases out. Probably this weekend, so just bear with me. I have a lot on my plate, so definitely will get to you. Just hang in there with me. I think I have about 8 or 10 to send out, so we will get those cases out. And I actually had somebody from the Netherlands, somebody from India. Where else? What's another country? And I don't mind shipping them out worldwide. That's why I have the contest. So not a big deal to me. But let's see here. And the Crave case reviews will be uploading this weekend. I can promise you that. I have a bunch of Crave cases that I have recorded, and I'm currently fine-tuning, and we'll upload those this weekend in regards to Crave case reviews for the Pixel 9 Pro XL and the S25 Ultra. I'm actually back on the S25 Ultra. I put One UI 8 beta software on here, and I may or may not do a video just signed back into it with the beta software on it. So it did get hot on me this morning. It did reboot on me this morning. It got up to 104.7 degrees Fahrenheit. Next thing I knew, I was like, damn, what the hell is going on with this freaking phone? And this was after I had beta on it. And but you know, I'm working on the computer here where the phone's sitting down on the right next to me on the side. So I'm working, I'm kind of touching it. I'm like, Jesus, this thing is hot as hell. And I look to see it's 104.7 degrees Fahrenheit. And then I was connected with my Bluetooth earbud. And the next thing I know, I guess a few minutes later, I hear a notification sound like my earbud reconnecting to the device. And I was like, what is going on? I looked at the phone. It automatically rebooted. So maybe, and that has not happened to me in the past when this device gets hot. It's the first time it's actually rebooted by itself, which is probably a good thing. It knows it's hot and it needs to cool off. Something's going on in the background, but since then, it has been fine. So hopefully that was just a one-off thing. Should be okay. At least I think. At least I hope, right? But speaking of Samsung, looks like everybody's filled in. How's everybody doing today? Let's go ahead and look at this video. Now, as you know, this is from audio good now? Perfect, thank you. As you know, it's a lot better now. I actually had the microphone set up to my computer, running through the computer and not through this microphone. I used to run a wireless mic, but I was going back and listening to the replay, and it sounds decent with the wireless mic, but nothing beats wired. I love wired. Everything wired. I got my camera wired, my Ethernet wired, my mic wired. I'll do wireless if I have to, but it just sounds better. You just get better quality when stuff is connected, right? So, speaking of Samsung, as I mentioned, we discussed the flip and fold, what we can expect yesterday. It looks to be pretty impressive. And what do you know? The same, there was a YouTube, I believe the Japanese, and I beg your pardon if it's not. My pinpointing the Asian country is not my specialty, but I think it's Japanese. A Japanese YouTube channel leaked the Z Fold 7, which I'm about to play here shortly, but I believe it's the same Japanese YouTube channel that leaked the S25 Ultra when it came out. Same channel that leaked the S25 Edge when it was about to come out. So they have some history here with leaking stuff, and apparently this is a working device. I don't know how they got their hands on it. Maybe they paid somebody under the table at the manufacturing plant. I have no idea. But we do have the video. Now, I must tell you that I edited this video slightly. I tried not to go too heavy on editing because it can disrupt what we're looking at. But I did edit it shortly just so I don't get flagged on YouTube. Now, again, as I mentioned yesterday, it should fall under the Fair Use Act, but you know, I'd rather slide under the radar if we can, rather than pop up, because what they'll do is you can reuse somebody's content, but it has to be like in review of their content. They don't want you to quote unquote reuse the content. So I'm definitely not reusing it because we are reviewing the content. So technically I should be fine, but I just slightly threw in some edits just real quick before we went live. So let's go ahead and check it out, right? Now, there's no sound to it. I actually took the sound off too, but you don't need sound. They're speaking in Japanese. So let's do this. Let me remove this. And let's throw this up there. So y'all ready? And I'll probably pause it. Let's see. Let's go ahead. So let me tell you what they're doing. So he reviews the Z Fold 7. It's on the right side. He's going to show off the device. He's going to compare it to the Z Fold SE, the Z Fold 6 SE, which was the Z Fold 6 that they should have released worldwide, but they didn't, because it was actually thinner than the Z Fold 6. The SE was only, I think, available in, I want to say 3 markets or 3 countries. Like, it was a very, very limited edition device. Not many people can get their hands on it. In fact, if you go try to buy it online on eBay, it's like $2,500. So it's in high demand. But the Z Fold 6 SE, that special edition, was considerably thinner than the OG, than the original Z Fold 6. But check this out. The Z Fold 7 blows away even the Z Fold 6 SE. You're going to be absolutely amazed. Now, they compare it to the Z Fold 7. They compare it to the Z Fold 7 SE. They compare it to the S25 Ultra. And I think there's another device. I can't remember, but let's check it out. And you can tell right there, doesn't look that much thinner. From some of the graphics that we showed yesterday, it looked really, really thin. But remember, this is folded closed, and you're looking at the hinge side. But just wait. Just wait. Check this out. Hang on, I want to go back to, check this out. Let's look at this. That's the Z Fold 7 on the right, Z Fold 6 SE on the left. Look at how much thinner it is. It's incredible, absolutely incredible. And my favorite feature, my favorite new addition is the outer display. It's a new aspect ratio, which we mentioned yesterday, 6.5 inch outer display, which is, in my opinion, probably perfect. That Pixel 7 that I have is a 6.5 inch display. Perfect. Now, I think for a phone, 6.7 is perfect, meaning like the S25 Plus or S25 Edge. That's a 6.7 inch display, perfect size. But the 6.5 is perfect for, it's right in between. It's certainly not small display. It's right teetering on the edge of a large display, but it's perfect if you want it for one-hand usability. But my favorite thing about this is now when it's folded closed, the new Z Fold 7, it looks and feels like a regular phone. I could not stand the previous folds, the 6, the Fold 5, the Fold 4. When you hold it in your hand closed, it did not feel like a regular phone. That's what I want. I want a foldable that looks and feels like a regular phone. It just opens up into a tablet, and I think they finally nailed it. Look at that. Looks like, check that out. New Fold 7 on the right, old Z Fold 6 on the left. You see how the Z Fold 6 on the left it's real thick too, the Z Fold 6, but it was too tall and slender and thick. Now, the new Fold 7 on the right is slim. It's actually the same thickness basically as an S25 Ultra, but it has a display of a regular phone. That is awesome. That is absolutely awesome. There's the SE. Now, with what Samsung did with the SE, the Z Fold 6 SE is a different aspect ratio than the Z Fold 6, which we just saw. Now, it looks like a regular phone when it's folded closed. However, I shouldn't say very thick, but it's still thick. It still feels like two phones slapped together. Now remember, I want a regular looking and feeling phone in your hand when closed. However, it opens into a tablet. The Z Fold 6 SE, you could still feel like it was two phones slapped together. The new Z Fold 7 on the right looks and feels just like a regular phone. It just opens up into a tablet. There you get the S25 Ultra on the left. New Z Fold 7 on the right. The Z Fold 7 on the right is a hair thicker than the S25 Ultra. Basically the same. Now here's the weight. You get the weight of the Fold 1, the OG Fold all the way on the left. These are in grams. And then as you get newer, as you go to the right, the weight gets smaller, or the weight reduces more and more and more. And now the new Z Fold 7 is going to be super light, 215 grams. Now there's still a crease. 4.5 millimeters thick. Now look at this. Holy crap. What a difference. So you get the previous Z Fold 6 on the top, brand new Z Fold 7 on the bottom. Look at how much thinner that device is. Absolutely amazing. Let me go back to that last frame. Check that out. Now you can also see how the aspect ratios change. The Z Fold 6 on top, when it's folded open, look how wide it is. Now look at the bottom, the Z Fold 7. Isn't that insane how thin it is? It's basically the same thickness as your USB Type-C port. I mean, that is insane. I'm really impressed. Obviously, we'll need to get... I don't know if I'm going to get it. I want to get it, but I don't think anybody's going to send me any phones. So I'm going to have to be getting these out of pocket. Now, the Nothing Phone 3 is coming out, and you know I'm going to get that. And I would like to get a Flip 7, but Fold 7? I don't know. I'll just leave it at I don't know. If I can find a good deal somewhere, possibly, but it's going to be $2,000 basically. So I'm doing this on my own funds. So we'll see. I'll just leave it at that. That is amazing. So the special edition, which was a 4.9 millimeters thick when unfolded, look how much bigger and thicker that looks than the Fold 7. Absolutely incredible. Still got that crease. S25 Ultra on the left, Fold 7 on the right. Then you get the Fold 6 on the left, Fold 7 on the right. You can tell it's thinner just even looking at it from the hinge. So the Fold 7, 9 millimeters thick when closed, and the S25 Ultra is like 8.6 millimeters when folded closed. So it's basically the same thickness as the S25 Ultra. Damn, that is so thin. That is crazy. Look at that. That's insane. Wow. So, we can expect a thinner phone. Now, one thing we saw from pictures yesterday is that not just the Z Fold 7, you're going to see I believe it's going to be a 12 megapixel sensor. We mentioned that yesterday. They're going to bump it up to 12 megapixels, and it's also... Oh, you're talking about when it's closed on the front, or when it's or when it's open on the inside? Because remember, they're going to actually do a hole punch this year on the inside because it is absolutely so thin. The camera stack that you will typically see from an under-display selfie camera is a little bit too thick for their liking. So it's so thin, they're going to have to go with the traditional hole punch when it's unfolded, when it's opened up with that camera inside. But I think that's a good option. And that's personal preference, right? Because actually with the hole punch, you actually get a clearer, cleaner shot, right? Video and picture. Because as I mentioned yesterday, they've fine-tuned the under-display sensors, but you can still kind of tell. It's like a tad bit cloudy with an under-display sensor. It's gotten better over the years, but they still have not perfected it. I want a clear photo, as clear photo and video as I can get. So if that's a hole punch, that's a hole punch. Now, when they perfect it for under display, it may take another few years. Okay, then I'll choose that. But I want the clearest photos, videos I can get. So the hole punch this year does not bother me. I believe they're moving to 12 megapixels. That's what I've seen. So looks like they're bumping that up to 12 megapixel. The same 12 that's on your S25 series. It's going to be the same sensor. So it should be the same sensor that's on this one. Good question. Now, I was going to say, this is not the only model that's getting thin. Yesterday we saw pictures of the Galaxy Z Flip 7, and that's actually getting thinner. Now, we thought the only design change that we were going to see with the Flip series is the aspect ratio, right? So it's not going to be as tall and slender. It's actually going to have the same aspect ratio as the S25 Plus. So when it's opened up, the flip, when it's opened up, it'll look and feel just like an S25 Plus. Well, that's getting thinner as well. Now, we don't have the official numbers of just how thin it is, but we saw the Flip 6 and the we saw the Flip 6 and the Flip 7 next to each other side by side, and the new Flip 7 is considerably thinner. So it looks like they're going to, there was a news report maybe a month ago, right before the S25 Edge came out, that these executives at Samsung really like the thin look and thin feel of these phones. And they're going to make each model from here on out on their flagship models considerably thinner. Now, that doesn't mean every model is going to be an S25 Edge. Every model is not going to be, under 5 millimeters thick. But I think you'll see a slight reduction in thickness moving forward on each device, meaning if the S25 Ultra is 8.6 millimeters thick, I guarantee you on the S26 Ultra, instead of being the same 8.6 millimeters thick, I think you're going to see a 7.6 millimeters thick. See what I'm saying? They'll probably shave a millimeter to a millimeter and a half off of each model moving forward, just because the executives at Samsung really like thin phones. Now, the S25 Edge has not sold well, and we may get in that tomorrow. I just don't have enough time today. But the S25 Edge has not sold well. I'm not really sure why. I think it kind of got a bad rap. I freaking love the one I have. Great battery life, which blows my mind. I did not expect that. And it stays cool. Cannot say the same thing about this. And it's just a really nice and light phone to hold and use. So moving forward, you will see thinner and thinner devices. You're gonna upgrade. Angel says I'm upgrading from a Z Flip 6 to Z. Jesus, I misspoke. Yeah, I said. Anyways, I have a lot of flips and folds and 6 and 7s in my mind. Pardon me. He says I'm upgrading from the Z Fold 6 to Z Fold 7. It's actually worth it in my opinion. I think you are correct. I think this is the first real upgrade, quite honestly. Now, I have not owned a Fold series. I've had every flip Samsung's made. Never purchased a Fold series, but this one legitimately has me wanting to go out and buy one. And I cannot honestly say that for any previous model. I think this is the first generation. I think this is the first upgrade that is really, they're really taking a step forward in changing stuff. Now, I know it's not perfect, right? We all know they could put a bigger battery in there. Trust me, we all want bigger batteries, and they're probably going to do that for the next for the Fold 8, right? And every company does this, right? They always throw like one less upgrade in there. Like sometimes they'll make the necessary upgrades but hold something back just so they can try to tease you for next year, right? To buy the next phone. But it is what it is. You'll probably see a super thin phone next year with a silicon carbon battery, right? Like we all wished it was in the Samsung devices this year, but it is what it is. Battery life should be better. So if those of y'all that have not used an S25 Edge, and I'm assuming a lot of y'all haven't, because I got a word that read a report that the sales are not doing good, which means not that many people bought it. I purchased it. I got it. I know there's a couple of viewers that got the S25 Edge. And let me tell you about what Samsung is going to do in regards to battery in this Fold 7 and Flip 7. And actually all flagships moving forward. So Samsung implemented a new battery AI algorithm, right? And you're like, okay, so they just wrote some code in the software and it's supposed to magically improve battery life? Yes, that's exactly what they did. And I expect them to implement a silicon carbon battery at some point in the future, but we also got a report 2 weeks ago that Samsung might not put a silicon carbon battery in the S26 or all flagship models next year, because this new battery saving algorithm that they implemented in no other phone except the S25 Edge. They did not put it in any other device. They tested it out to the market in the S25 Edge, and that's why you have everybody saying, holy shit, the battery life in the S25 Edge is mind-blowing, considering, it's got a 3,900 milliamp hour battery. Nobody expected this. I'm getting almost 9 hours of screen on time. 9 hours of screen on time on my S25 Edge with a 3,900 milliamp hour battery. And I'm a heavy, heavy user. I do everything with my phone. And they're going to implement that same battery algorithm into every flagship phone moving forward for the foreseeable future, starting with the Fold 7 and Flip 7. And you'll see that. I promise you it makes a difference. I promise you it makes. I'm a believer, and I was not a believer at first, right? I was like, battery algorithm, what the hell is that going to do, right? Like, I'm all about the numbers and this and that, but it makes a big difference. I don't know what they did. I tried to do some homework on it, looked into it a little more. Apparently, they're just using AI, implementing it into the software, finding little meticulous ways to improve battery life throughout the operating system. It'll turn, even if it has to turn a app's sync off for 10 times an hour and turn it back on. Every little drip of energy it can conserve, it does that. It's amazing. So I think a lot of y'all are going to be surprised. I don't think that's going to be an issue, because that will come up. I have seen the online, been on Reddit. I've seen the criticisms of the upcoming Fold series and the battery. That seems to be the big main topic. I think everybody's going to be surprised with the battery life on the Fold 7 with this new battery saving algorithm that they're going to implement into it. And with the S26 series, everything moving forward. Now, I don't know if they can implement it like in a software update to the regular S25 series. I've reached out to Samsung, to the media relations, and asked them that question, because I'm like, well, if it's making this big of a difference, why can't they implement it to older series devices? I don't know if it's chipset specific. I don't know. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. You would expect them to put that in any future update for S25 series, S24 series, and older models. We don't know if they're going to do that or not. But what I do know, and I have seen a executive make a statement, they plan on putting this new battery algorithm in every flagship series moving forward, foldable or Galaxy S. So it's good news. And Angel says, yes, the S25 Edge is amazing. I actually managed to get 8 hours on screen time, a total of 70. I'm telling you, it's, people don't believe it until you use it. It's literally, it's shocking how good battery life it has for such a small battery. So I think you'll see improvements with the Fold 7 battery over previous years, and that's considering them having the same size. It may be slightly different, maybe, slightly bigger battery just by 100 or 200 milliamp hours on the Fold 7 compared to the Fold 6, but they are going to implement this new battery algorithm, and I think it will make a difference. So should be interesting. I think it's a valuable upgrade. I think it's a upgrade that's worth it as well, quite honestly. I think this one's, and it makes you wonder, why didn't Samsung do this? Why didn't they make incremental steps to this point where we're at, or to where we're going to be here with the Fold 7? How come, the Fold hasn't really changed that much in the last few years? Well, I think it's because they got fat and happy, because they knew they had, they were selling their Samsung, and they basically, started this foldable thing. Well, Oppo and some of the other companies, Honor, OnePlus with their Fold, with their Open, they caught up, and Samsung, I think, was like, oh shit, caught with the pants down, like, we got to do something. Plus, their sales have kind of been teetering off a little bit for the foldables. So I think they finally got their stuff together, and let's hope they continually throw in the best tech from here on out. So it'll be a good device. I think this one will sell better because this is the first video leak. As we're seeing this stuff come out, everybody's like, whoa, this thing looks badass. And I think that will generate more. I think they'll have better sales with this year foldables than they've had in the past probably 3 years. That's my guess. Because not much has changed. And now even the Flip series is looking badass, right? It gets an all-outer display. It's going to be thinner, better sensors, and I guess it really depends on, here's the key, how the Exynos 2500 CPU is going to do in the Flip 7. We don't know. And I want to know the one last stat or spec that I want to find out with this Fold 7, and we probably won't know it until the day it's released, is what CPU they're going to put in there. Are they going to put the 8-core Snapdragon 8 Elite like what's in the S25 series? Or are they going to put the 7-core 8 Elite that's in the S25 Edge? I think that combination too, with that battery algorithm in the Edge and the 7-core 8 Elite, I think that's what makes a big difference. I think they're going to put the 7-core just because of how thin it is. But we'll see. Only time will tell. We will see. It doesn't hinder performance, and it really helps the device stay cool, in my opinion. Now, moving on to something that will affect everyone watching this. And I'm not exaggerating. This new news that came out will literally affect every single person watching this. Now, what is that? Well, if you're watching this on a phone or a mobile device, I'm assuming you have an account, right? Whether it's a Gmail account for YouTube or Google Play services, or you're watching this on a computer, right? Your Apple account, your Microsoft account. Well, now it's officially time to change all of your passwords. That's correct. Change all of your passwords to every account. And you better do it. I'm not saying you got to do it right this second, but probably think about it doing it over the weekend or something, because literally everybody's account's information just got stolen. I'm not even exaggerating. Check this out. If this report is true, and I actually looked up this report on some other news publications, and it's true, because I was like, is this clickbait? The New York Post, is this really true? Yeah, it appears to be true, unfortunately. Check this out. So, 16 billion with a B, Google, Apple, and other passwords leaked in a record data breach. So this is technically the largest data breach in the history of mankind. Just happened. And I'm assuming if there's only, how many people are on Earth? What is it, 4 billion, 5 billion? And 16 billion accounts were stolen. That means that's roughly 3 accounts per person, correct? So that sounds about right. And I know there's some people that live in these vast places that, or older people that maybe just have one cell phone. What do they call it? The jitterbug, where it's got those big buttons where you don't need an account to operate. So I get that, right? Not everybody has a cell. I know we're close, but not everybody has a cell phone. People that live out in the jungle and stuff probably don't, but just roughly, that's about 3 accounts per person. That sounds about right? Because I have a Google account, I have a Microsoft account, and I have an Apple account, which they just freaking blacklisted me. Anyways, that's another story. But that tells me basically everybody's account's information just got hacked. Now, I guess, I take that back. It doesn't mean hacked, but everybody's account information and or passwords are now open to access if hackers want to access them. Now, that data breach means whenever the breach happened or occurred is the account password they have. So that's why I announced by now, if it's just coming to light, that means at that snapshot, right when those account informations were and passwords were released, I don't know, could have been a month ago that it happened. So if you've changed, I would just say change every password to every account you have over the weekend, when this live stream is done, in a minute, whenever you want to, but do it soon so they cannot get into your accounts. You see what I'm saying? Some of the best information I can do, always make sure, and this is just my personal preference, you can do whatever you want to. I have multiple email accounts. I have a different password for each email account, right? It's a pain in the ass. I get it, but I'd rather it be a pain in the ass trying to sign in than somebody draining your account, right? I have these two. Make sure you sign up for 2FA, two-factor authentication, and then also, I have videos on this. Go get you a physical key. Go get you a physical key. This is a, what do they call this? Titan Security, Google Titan Security chip. So whenever I sign into, and it works cross-platform. It works for Apple, it works for Google, actually works with Microsoft. You have to physically, when I sign into my account, I'll type in my email. It'll ask for my password. I type in my password, but before it lets me in, it says, okay, now plug in your Titan security key. I have to physically plug this into a USB Type-C port. This also has NFC tag in here. So you either have to hold it up to the device if it's a phone or a tablet, or plug it in if it's a phone or a tablet or a computer. And until I push this little button on here, it will not let me sign into the account. So if somebody's trying to hack into my account that's in Malaysia, even if they have my email, even if they have my password, it still will not let them in unless they plug this into their computer and push this button, or phone, right? So that makes it to where you physically have to have this key to sign in. Again, even if they're in the Netherlands, Malaysia, or even here if they're in Utah or the next city over, or even if they're in the next room, they can't sign in unless they have this key. So I think they're about, I did a review of this, they're, I don't know, $30, $35. You can get it straight from Google. And you can get some others, right? I think Amazon has some that are called, is it Fido? Get on Amazon and look for 2FA security key, and you'll see these pop up. This one's directly from Google, so that's why I purchased it from Google website. It's called the Titan security key. But change your passwords, make sure 2FA is turned on, and try to get a third layer of security, which would be a security key. So I'm gonna link, if you want to read this, it's basically, the article is basically just what I told you. But it does give some details as far as how it occurred, the largest data breach in history, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to make light of it, but what I told you is basically what the article says. But I will put a link in the video description once this is done here in just a second, and you can read it if you want to. But all major platforms got data leaked. So accounts and passwords to Facebook, Google, Apple, Instagram, Microsoft, all the above. Again, 16 billion accounts in their information. So this involves everybody. So they need to do a better job, and we can do a better job as a user just by doing all that you physically can, and that involves stuff like this. So actually, you know what? I'll put a link in the description for where I got this too, just to let, if you're interested, right? Super easy, you can carry it around. You can actually, I have two. So you can actually have two keys. I think you can actually do as many as you want, but I have a key that I carry around with me, and then I have a backup key just in case. Because what if you use this to sign in, and as a security key, but oh, what if you lose it, right? Well, shit, you're really screwed then. Well, get a backup key, and you can put this in your safety deposit box at a bank, or you can keep it in a fire safe in your closet. Or I got one with me, and then I got one I keep in a safe. So, you know, always have access. So these come in handy. And actually, well, there's a long story. I was gonna say, I actually have actually tried to sign in, testing it, tried to sign in without using my security key. Couldn't do it. Now, so I don't think the hackers will have much luck, because you physically have to have this to sign in. But It is what it is. Let me get out of here. It's getting a little late. It's getting around dinner time. Let's see. Dang, that's why you can't have a bank. Yes. Always use a credit card. How much does a physical key cost? It costs $35. And here's the thing, too, with your bank information. So, however you can make it harder for people to access your account, the better. Even if it's not impenetrable, meaning even if they can penetrate it or log in, as long as you make it super difficult for them, the greater the chance they have of saying, screw it, move on to the next person that they're going to try to hack. Because remember, these hackers buy lists on the black market of information. And if they're having a hard time logging into your stuff, they're going to say, screw it, they're going to go on to the next person, right? Because a lot of people, they can get in like that. So for your bank, so if you have like a Bank of America, they have 2FA, right? Where you can, if you hit forgot password, if you're trying to log into a Bank of America, forgot my password, they'll either send you a text message or they'll send you an email, right? So if you have like a Bank of America on your phone, right? Don't link your phone number to the same phone that has the app on it. So what I mean is your regular cell phone number, most people have one phone, one number, right? That's typically how it works. I have multiple phones. You can actually go get a Google Voice number, which is free. Link that to FA. And if you make it hard, it's actually, if they cannot get into your Gmail account, and even if you have that security key, they're not going to log on and hack into your phone number and do it that way. So what I'm meaning is separate the two. Separate the two. So if you have the number that they'll message you a temporary passcode to, don't have it go back to this phone number, because that's how these SIM swap hacks work, right? They'll transfer your phone number to their phone, and they'll download the Bank of America app, and they'll hit forgot my password, and then Bank of America will say, no problem, we'll send you text you a temporary password. Well, if they stole your phone number and a SIM swap and transferred it to their phone, they're getting the text message to log in on their phone. See what I'm saying? So you want to break that connection. So go get a Google Voice number. It's free. Use that Google Voice number as your 2FA number, and don't have your Google Voice on here, on the same phone that you have your app on, your banking app. So you can always log on your computer, because you can get Google Voice on a computer or on another device, right? It's about $35 for that physical key. I'll link it here in a second when we're done. So how does that key work for Google? It includes Apple. So it's not just for Google products. So how I have my electronics set up, I have that one, or I guess two, because I have a backup. Those keys will register on Apple and register on Microsoft products as a physical security key. So it'll work for any Google product, it'll work for any Apple product, it'll work for any Microsoft product. All major platforms support it. So, and I use that as I have my Apple account. I have my 2FA and then a security key as well through my Apple account. So it's just another layer of security, and especially because you have to physically have it to sign in. Nobody else in the world is going to be able to sign in to my account unless they have my security key, and that's how you super duper lock it down. I'm going to link that right now. So once this is done, I'm going to end this here in a second. I'm immediately going to go link those items and those links that you're going to need in this story. Come back to my video maybe in about a couple of minutes or 5 minutes after I end it, and you'll see the link there. So let me get out of here. It is getting late. I do appreciate the time. If you've got any questions, hit me up in the comments. My email address is in the description of this video as well. So you can email me if you got any questions as well in regards to that stuff. But I'll see y'all tomorrow. And please have a good Friday evening and rest of the weekend. Peace out.